Frank said, I think some things shouldn't change. For example, I want to hold on to my basic values, but I realize now that I would be better off if I had moved with the cheese a lot sooner in my life. Well, Michael, it was a nice little story, Richard, the class skeptic said. But how did you actually put it into use in your company? The group didn't know it yet, but Richard was experiencing some changes himself. Recently separated from his wife, he was now trying to balance his career with raising his teenagers. Michael replied, You know, I thought my job was just to manage the daily problems as they came up when what I should have been doing was looking ahead and paying attention to where we were going. And boy, did I manage those problems 24 hours a day. It wasn't a lot of fun to be around. I was in a rat race and I couldn't get out. Laura said, So you were managing when you needed to be leading. Exactly, Michael said. Then, when I heard the story of who moved my cheese, I realized my job was to paint a picture of new cheese that we would all want to pursue so we could enjoy changing and succeeding, whether it was at work or in life. Nathan asked, What did you do at work? Well, when I asked people in our company who they were in the story, I saw we had every one of the four characters in our organization. I came to see that the sniffs, scurries, hems, and haws each needed to be treated differently. Our sniffs could sniff out changes in the marketplace, so they helped us update our corporate vision. They were encouraged to identify how the changes could result in new products and services our customers would want. The Sniffs loved it and told us they enjoyed working in a place that recognized change and adapted in time. Our Scurries liked to get things done, so they were encouraged to take actions based on the new corporate vision. They just needed to be monitored so they didn't scurry off in the wrong direction. They were then rewarded for actions that brought us new cheese. They liked working in a company that valued action and results. What about the hems and haws? Angela asked. Unfortunately, the hems were the anchors that slowed us down, Michael answered. They were either too comfortable or too afraid to change. Some of our haws changed only when they saw the sensible vision we painted that showed them how changing would work to their advantage. Our hems told us they wanted to work in a place that was safe, so the change needed to make sense to them and increase their sense of security. When they realized the real danger of not changing, some of them changed and did well. The vision helped us turn many of our hems into haws. What did you do with the hems who didn't change? Frank wanted to know. We had to let them go, Michael said sadly. We wanted to keep all our employees, but we knew if our business didn't change quickly enough, we would all be in trouble. Then he said, The good news is that while our haws were initially hesitant, they were open minded enough to learn something new, act differently, and adapt in time to help us succeed. They came to expect change and actively look for it because they understood human nature. They helped us paint a realistic vision of new cheese that made good sense to practically everyone. They told us they wanted to go to work on an organization that gave people the confidence and tools to change, and they helped us keep our sense of humor as we went after our new cheese. Richard commented, You got all that from a little story? Michael smiled. It wasn't the story, but what we did differently based on what we took from it. Ankelo admitted, I'm a little bit like him. So for me, the most powerful part of the story was when Ha laughed at his fear and went on to paint a picture in his mind where he saw himself enjoying new cheese. It made going into the maze less fearful and more enjoyable, and he eventually got a better deal. That's what I want to do more often. Frank grinned. So even Hems can sometimes see the advantage of changing. Carlos laughed. Like the advantage of keeping their jobs, Ankala added, or even getting a good raise. Richard, who had been frowning during the discussion, said, my manager's been telling me our company needs to change. I think what she's really telling me is that I need to, but I haven't wanted to hear it. I guess I never really knew what the new cheese was that she was trying to move us to, or, or how I could gain from it. A slight smile crossed Richard's face as he said, I must admit, I like this idea of seeing new cheese and imagining yourself enjoying it. It lightens everything up. When you see how it can make things better, you get more interested in making the change happen. Maybe I could use this in my personal life, he added. My children seem to think that nothing in their lives should ever change. I guess they're acting like him. They're angry. They're probably afraid of what the future holds. Maybe I haven't painted a realistic picture of new cheese for them. Probably because I didn't see it myself. The group was quiet as several people thought about their own lives. Well, Jessica said, most people here have been talking about jobs, but as I listened to the story, I also thought about my personal life. I think my current relationship is old cheese that has some pretty serious mold on it. Corey laughed in agreement. Me too. I probably need to let go of a bad relationship. Akala countered. Or perhaps the old cheese is just old behavior. What we really need to let go of is the behavior that is the cause of our bad relationships, and then move on to a better way of thinking and acting. Ouch, Corey reacted. Good point. The new cheese is a new relationship with the same person. Richard said, I'm beginning to think there is more to this than I thought. I like the idea of letting go of old behavior instead of letting go of the relationship. Repeating the same behavior will just get you the same results. As far as work goes, maybe instead of changing jobs, I should be changing the way I am doing my job. I'd probably have a better position by now if I did. Then Becky, who lived in another city but had returned for the reunion, said, as I was listening to the story and to everyone's comments here, I've had to laugh at myself. I've been like him for so long, hemming and hawing and afraid of change. I didn't realize how many other people did this as well. I'm afraid I've passed it on to my children without even knowing it. As I think about it, I realize change really can lead you to a new and better place, although you're afraid it won't at the time. I remember a time when our son was a sophomore in high school. My husband's job required us to move from Illinois to Vermont, and our son was upset because he had to leave his friends. He was a star swimmer, and the high school in Vermont had no swim team, so he's very angry with us for making him move. As it turned out, he fell in love with the Vermont mountains, took up skiing, skied in his college team, and now lives happily in Colorado. If we had all enjoyed this cheese story together over a cup of hot chocolate, we could have saved our family a lot of stress.